Hey, it's Kevin Cross with Conventional Wisdom. Today we're going to talk about the payroll protection plan for the self-employed. Today is April 8th. On April 10th, 2 days from today, we're going to have a floodgate of additional filings. Could be in the quadruple, could be 5, maybe 10 times as many businesses that are considered self-employed independent contractors than S-Corps and other type of businesses that have been applying. And we already know there's a bottleneck. To this moment, since the EIDL last week and on Friday of last week, the PPP opening up, I have not seen one of my clients receive $1. Nothing, nada. They have confirmation, they've sent me their number, they're in line, they've done a great job. Haven't seen $1. So I need to lay it out there for the independent contractors. Please expect the worst. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be ready, Johnny on the spot, to file your PPP. Now, I have a couple pointers for those who are independent contractors. I also have a pointer, and it's very important. I'm going to do another video on S corporations. But if you are an independent contractor, if you're a sole proprietor, and you've been mulling over the idea of becoming an S corporation, filing a 2553, that's the IRS form, and saying about your independent contractor, your business, maybe you're a single member LLC, and you're unincorporated, or it doesn't matter, but you can ask the IRS to treat you like an S corporation. Now, you can do this either through becoming a corporation with your state or being an LLC. Most people watching this right now, even if they're an independent contractor, they're probably an LLC. 30 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago, I would be talking to a whole group of people who did a DBA, doing business as. And so it might be whatever, Owl's Tree Service, DBA. And they would register that with their county. Now today, the brave new world is everybody's an LLC. So you might be thinking, do I file now the PPP as an LLC, because there is a box up there, or do I file that as an independent contractor? Here's the key. You probably, if you're going to file it as an LLC, and you're thinking, let me go ahead and do it right now, and they're asking for payroll returns, and you're saying, I have no payroll returns. I report all of this on a Schedule C, as in Charlie, on my 1040, and when I file my Schedule C, and it might be your first year, it might be your 20th year, all of that money from your LLC flows through to the Schedule C, and you have something called revenue or income. That's your gross income. And so all of that money flows there, and you're not going to ever have a 941 or payroll by month. In that case, this is where you need to say, this PPP that's open right now, it's a one size fits all, and it's not fitting me. That's where you're going to say, oh, I am an independent contractor, sole proprietor, even though you filed the state documents to show that you are a limited liability company. And that's great, because you have limited liability, and it's wonderful, and you get to have that wonderful name, and you might have been that for years. However, this year, somebody said you should be an S corporation, subchapter S. Now, subchapter S there's some significant advantages. One of the most important advantages is you can pay yourself wages. I call it reasonable compensation, and you can pay yourself a distribution. I mentioned this on my S-Corp video. Now, here's the interesting fact. If your first year as an S-Corp, you would have had to do wages, reasonable compensation, and distributions of whatever the profit were. Now, had you not been an S-Corp, had you not paid yourself wages, had you not paid yourself distributions, and all of that money came into the Schedule C, you would have essentially a larger amount of PPP available to you. Because let me remind you once more, PPP is based on 2.5 months worth of payroll. And so you might say, well, what could my payroll be as an independent contractor. As an independent contractor, what I believe is what's going to be on the Schedule C. If you brought in $100,000 and you had $10,000 in expenses, you had $90,000 in net income, brace yourself, your PPP will be based on $90,000 divided by 12, and that they will multiply times 2.5, and you're going to have a wonderful factor there. Now, had you been an S corporation, and this is why the outcry of clients, and I got several people who even sent me a text, posted something on the videos last night. I think Jennifer was one. She said, "What? I'm an S corporation. This is devastating. I've been paying myself wages, and we'll just take this scenario, $90,000. If somebody put $20,000 in wages and $70,000 in distributions, or $30,000 in wages and $60,000 in distributions, that means the PPP is based only on this $20,000 or $30,000 over here, which is going to be a far cry. So the person who is an independent contractor actually is in a better position than the S-Corp. Drop the mic. Wait a second. You mean to tell me the authors of this, the fact that an independent contractor on Friday, the 10th, 2 days from today, they're going to get more PPP than somebody who's an S corporation who's been doing payroll, who has probably somebody like ADP doing their processing their payroll every single month and paying that fee and then having an accountant and a CPA instead of somebody who's an independent contractor. Yes, exactly. So I have a tip for you. If you're a first year S-Corp, say this year you checked the box and you said, I want to be recognized, I want my LLC to be recognized as an S corporation, and you haven't filed your return yet, and you haven't filed payroll returns, you're still in very good shape. Because what you could do is you could forego. You could say, like, I don't want to be an S-Corp. I made a mistake. I didn't do the payrolls. I want to go back to being an LLC. This is a great opportunity. Now, some of you are going to say, I don't have the luxury of that. And my heart goes out to you because that's where most of my clients are. They're paying reasonable compensation, but they're going to get far less than an independent contractor. Next, I would say for an independent contractor on Friday, how are you going to prove this? $1 million question, or maybe it's a 2.5 month PPP question, because you're going to have to prove this. It's easy for the other businesses to give 941s and a 940 and the payroll from their ADPs or from paychecks or from QuickBooks, or if they're doing it themselves, they print out the report. That's easy. But for an independent contractor, there's no payroll. There's no payroll. So one of the things that you have to do, as I noticed on the PPP rules, this has to coincide with what you're filing with the IRS. So some people right now, it might even behoove them to file their tax return. Therefore, they will have a live return that they've already filed. They submit the Schedule C, which is going to be the prima facie evidence of how much they made, and upload that document on Friday. So if you've been waiting to file your return until the PPP, that's probably a good idea to do it, because what happens if you don't file your return, you submit the documents that you would have filed, and some things change. And all of a sudden you realize you should have done this and you did that, and there's a material difference between your tax return after you get the PPP and prior. Well, as you're proving that, if this looks substantially different than what you submitted to them, that might come back and haunt you. So I'm telling my clients, especially if they're within that range of getting to $1,200 each, this might be a very good time to file a return, especially being a Schedule C. Do you have time? Sure, you have 48 hours to get this return filed, and then you have something live to be able to submit. Now, you might say, well, I can't. I don't have the luxury of filing the return right now. What I would do is make sure you preserve the numbers on the Schedule C, or have very good reason why they changed after you get the PPP. Thank you. My name is Kevin Cross, and I'm your CPA, and we're talking today about the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan for the self-employed. It's opening up on April 10th. If you like this video, like it down the bottom and tell me you want another one just like this.